Everybody, and welcome to live stream number 38. Today is Tuesday. It is August 1st, 2017. Thank you so much for taking the time to join this video. Today's live stream is about the boundary fill. You need to know about this tool if you don't know it. Now, if you're watching this, you're watching the recording because now we got Dylan in here. Hey Dylan, nice to see you. So thank you so much for joining this live stream. Now, as usual, if there is any specific topics you would like to see in the live stream, my email address is down in the description area, lars.christensen at autodesk.com. Really appreciate anybody who is sending me suggestions. I can see, so like I said, we got Dylan here, we got Sunil, we got Richard, David is here, Luke is here. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy day to join today's live stream. Now, these live streams, 15 to 30 minutes long. They're kind of like, I don't spend too much time preparing for them, but just trying to add a little bit more value to hopefully your learning experience of Fusion 360. If you like what you see, I would really appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. If you don't, be honest, thumbs down. All right, I will get back into the chat here, the live stream, in a few minutes. But let's go ahead and talk about this command called boundary fill. Now, it is a solid command, but kind of like also a little bit like a surface command. If you have watched these live streams, previous live streams, you should, even if you are fairly new, you should be comfortable with the whole terminology of surfaces versus solids. That a solid is really just made up by a watertight surface body. So let's just make sure that we got everybody up to speed. So in here in the modeling space, if I just sketch up here, so I'm going to create a new sketch. I'm going to just sketch on this plane and let's do a circle. I'm going to hit C for circle. And then I'm going to just draw a circle out here. Now you should always fully define your sketches, right? That is a rule. And let's hit Q for press pull. And we drag this one out to some kind of a cylinder here. This is what we call a solid. And everybody should feel pretty comfortable with that. We got one body out here. Now, if I select this face here and hit delete on my keyboard, I actually get a arrow down here, and you can click here and says more information, and it says here compute fail. The operation could not heal the edited region to the model. I don't know if it's so much of a error more than just the software saying that, well, if I delete this face in the model environment, I'm going to patch it up again to where it kind of like is. Let me demonstrate that. If I blast another hole through this one, let's make a hole. Let's just go all the way through. If I now select that inside face and I hit delete, you will see that it goes away, right? And we get a delete face down here. And so the reason that we cannot just delete this face is because the software is kind of like, well, dummy, I would end up with this same kind of thing anyways. However, if we went into, we're going to get back to that model in a second. If we went into the patch surface workspace, the surface environment, and we did the exact same thing in here. Select the face, hit delete. Well, then you will see that the face kind of it goes away, and now we don't have a solid body anymore. Now we have a surface body, and I could actually go in here. If I delete this other face here, then we just have a tube going all the way through. So now we just have these non-thick surfaces, right? Now if I go back and I actually just delete, go backwards, so Control Z, I can close this thing back up again. Now we have a body. Now, what we did in a previous, when we talked about surfaces, is that if I delete this face here, now it's a surface, if I create a patch on here and then hit OK to that, now it's still, now I just got extra surface body. It's still not a solid. To convert it into a solid, we stitch it together, right? So if I select all this and hit OK, now it is stitched together as a body. That's kind of like how this thing works. And that was kind of what we did on this part when we talked about creating kind of like a core out of a body. In the end of this part here, if you scroll all the way to the end, you will see that we sketched up a boundary, we patched it, we trimmed it, and we stitched it together. Now here comes the boundary fill into play. Let me just go back here. I'm going to delete the stitch. I'm going to delete this surface. So now I have just this this opening up here. Now if I turn on my origin, you will see that I got the bottom plane visible here. Now the boundary fill lives both inside of patch environment and inside of model environment. So if I click create, you will see boundary fill is sitting right down here. If I go into model, boundary fill is sitting down here too. Now if I select that, it says that it's looking for tools. So what it's looking for in this case is it's looking for this plane and this body. And then you will think it's kind of like turned green. And then you have a select cells. Now, right now, we only, because of this model, we only have one cell. So I'm going to check that one. Now, you will see in a second where I have more cells, so don't worry about it. Now, if I do this and I hit OK, notice how now I got a body. So it kind of stitched, it kind of patched and stitched within one. Now, an interesting thing with it, though, is that you will see that it actually left that first surface in here. So it kind of copies the surfaces that was already in here. It passed and it stitched in one command. I can actually remove this one by right-clicking and hit remove. So you're thinking, okay, wait a minute, what did we just do here? Well, let's go back into this model here. So if you watched that live stream where we talked about making the core, you have seen this one before. Let's just hide the actually model and just bring up the core here. So if I go down to the end of this, and let me roll back. So we stitched a bunch of surfaces together, and we actually had a plane sitting down here that was flush. That was where we did these lofts to, and we stitched all these lofts together. But this is still just a surfaced shell. Then what we did was we created a sketch. Well, I created a sketch, but you guys were with me. Let's turn that one on. So I kind of like just created a rectangle, underdefined actually. And then I created a patch on it, right? So now we kind of like have that patch. Then I trimmed that patch so it only covered, now I can turn the sketch on. Now it only covered this area. And then I used that stitch command to stitch it all together into this body here. Check out the boundary fill. Let's roll all the way back. What we could have done with this surface sitting right here was we could have gone, and again, I'm in the model environment. We could have been in the patch. It does the same thing in both areas. I go down to the boundary fill under create. I select the plane, and I select that whole body. And again, you will see we only get one checkbox right here. Hit OK. Let Fusion do its magic. And now you will see that that just became a body. Now, like I said, it leaves all the other surfaces in here. You can just right click and you can remove them if you want to. That's perfectly legit. So the boundary fill does a nice thing that is a little bit kind of like what the stitch command did for us there in the end. So I guess we eliminated a few steps. Hope that's pretty cool, right? Now, another thing you can use the boundary fill to is to figure out a mass of like a fluid kind of example. So let's go back into Fusion. let's start a new design here. And I am going to model up a glass. And if you're brand new to Fusion, just remember that whenever you're doing something round, think of the revolve command might be your friend. So what I'm going to do this is to draw up my glass. I'm going to kind of like draw up the profile. So I'm just going to go in and start a new sketch. This is a brand new design. And I'm going to hit a line. I'm going to sketch this one over to about here. Then you see how I'm still in the line command? If I go back to the start point of the new line and I hold down my left mouse button, I actually get a tangent arc. That's kind of neat. I'm just going to sketch this profile out here, and then you can either hit escape. If you're an AutoCAD user, that's what you normally do. You can also go up here and click on that little green check mark down there to end this. So this is going to be kind of the profile of my glass. Now, one of the things that you will always see that I talk about, as soon as you have a arc, make sure that tangent C is always on your arc. So I'm missing it over here. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. So I'm going to select these two lines and apply tangent C. You should always have that. That's what will make your sketches kind of like go crazy. All right, so here's kind of like the glass, and I know this is not going to be a very fancy glass. Let's fully define the sketch. So I'm going to go ahead here, hit D for dimension, and let's just start adding maybe some dimensions to this glass here. And I don't know, I'm just making this up because I can. 4 inches. What else do we need? We maybe need this one here, and we're looking for this sketch to be black, right? Just like that there. Okay. So what we have now is kind of the profile of the glass. I'm going to go in and use an offset. So I'm going to hit O for offset. Select here, and this is going to give me kind of like my thickness of my glass. So we're going to make it minus 0.125 right here. And then I'm just going to close off, oops, I'm just going to close my phone. I'm just going to close off this sketch. Now, normally, so you're looking at this offset edge here, and you're thinking, well, I actually want my glass, well, it's probably some radiuses, but I don't want my glass to go this way. I want it to go vertical over like this. You don't have to, you can do this and just leave that little piece there. That is actually all right. It's not going to ruin anything. Go ahead here, and as soon as I get that kind of like yellowish color there, that will tell me that it's a fully defined sketch. And now we can revolve this. So go up here, create revolve, and I'm going to select the profile. So that's going to be this portion here. Then it's going to have an axis to revolve around. That's going to be this one here, and I'm going to hit OK, and that is my kind of glass. Now, if this was, I know that there is some fancy stainless, like if it was for Scotch or something like that, but this is not for Scotch because it's not after 5 yet. So what we can do is, let's go into the body here, right click and change the physical material. And that is different from the appearances. The physical material is actually what Fusion is going to use. So in this case here, I'm going to select a glass. You will see there's different types of glass. I'm just going to drag that over, and now it is kind of see-through. All right. There's my glass. I hope that this is not too boring to watch. Now, I want to put some water inside of this glass so I can figure out about how much water this glass can obtain. So what I can use this boundary fill to is if I create an offset plane from the bottom, and I'm just going to drag the arrow up here. Let's go and look at it from the side here and determine about how much water do we think we want in here. About that much. And, well, let's make it an even 5 inches. Not an even 5 inches. So now we got this plane sitting in the glass here. Check out the boundary fill. If I go in and say boundary fill, and I again select this top plane, and then select the glass. Now when it comes to selecting cells, you will actually see that now we do get more check boxes. And that's because the software is trying to figure out from this plane, where am I cutting things. So we can go up here, and the easiest thing is just to check, and you can kind of like see, would it be that top there? Would it be the bottom here, or would it be this other cell here? So I'm going to select this one here. I think it's the bottom one, I'm not sure. This one here, the second one here, and hit OK. And now what I just got was, I got a solid, you see we get a second body. I hope this makes sense. I right now got a new body that lives in the inner section of the glass walls up to that plane we created. Let's just hide that plane for a second. Now, that body, we can right click on that. We can go and do physical material. And if we go in, we don't want that to be glass. There is liquid in here. Now, right now in Fusion, there is only water. That's why this is going to be water and not scotch. So now if we do this, we now have that boundary there. Now what you can do is, if we go in and we right click, and we right click on that body that is now our water. If we right click and we go into properties, you will actually see that we get it knows what material it is, and we do get the volume in here for this. Now, I want to make sure that you also know that if you go up to your preferences, open your name and your preferences, that there is different settings in here. I think, not material. So here you could actually change what your default materials is. It's got to be like units. So in here you can set different type of units that does kind of affects these over here, what then you want to measure them with. But this will give you kind of that measurement of how much water could we fit in this container. That can be, you can use this, of course, for many different things. Now, of course, the last thing I did when I was in here was I had to go into the rendering environment because I said glass and water, really. And of course, you can go in here and you can go in and turn on canvas render and let the thing start rendering out your image, and you will see the glass and the water and that kind of thing. Now, I know a couple of people have asked for me to do some of the rendering for these live stream, and we might do that at some point. But that was kind of like the boundary fill used to creating some different scenarios. So I hope that was kind of helpful. If you didn't know about the boundary fill, you should, right? Because you can definitely find some situations where that could be kind of handy to have in there, if nothing least, just to show off to your friends how you can actually figure out how much beer can be in a beer bottle. I hope you appreciate this little tip here. Just look in here. I can see we got 45 people. Really appreciate you guys are taking the time. Got people from Spain, Australia. We got London, North Carolina, Chicago. That's cool. People from all over. Really appreciate. Oregon is in here too. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy day to join these live streams. Tomorrow, same time, 3 o'clock Eastern, we are going to talk a little bit about animations. So that is another thing. My light is flickering. Do you see that? Oh, that's annoying. Tomorrow we're going to talk about animations. So some people have asked about, they want to do like pulleys and things spinning around. So I'm going to give you a light, quick look into the animation space. So if you have never played with it, at least you can kind of like, touch that and see what that is all about. I hope that this was worth 20 minutes of your time. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to watch these. Don't forget, if you like it, do the thumbs up. If you don't, well, do the thumbs down. That's fine. And I hope I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to stop the broadcast as normal. And then I'm going to jump into the live chat and say hello. So I hope I see you tomorrow for animations. Take care, guys.